Today's video is sponsored by Arrtx. They sent me their 72 watercolor pencil set, and in today's video I'm going to be doing not only just a spread, but an in-depth look at how I do my sketchbook decorations and spreads, because they also sent me a really small sketchbook to do the work in, and I thought, wow, for one thing, the sketchbook is really cute. Like, it's actually so small that it's smaller than my hand, and also it's just really pretty. Like, it's a really pretty book. I actually was too afraid to decorate the cover because I was like, wow, the pattern is really pretty and it's also very glittery, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna hold off on decorating it. But anyway, so testing out the watercolor pencils was, you know, a typical, it's what I expected. They have a special material or pigment in them that allows you to, like, when you put the pencil down and you put water on it, it basically reacts the same way as it would with watercolor, and I think that's pretty neat. However, when I was working on this, I let's just say I struggled a lot. You'll see later on, but yeah, it blends really well and the colors are pretty vibrant, I would say. So I was like, oh, all right, I like how this is going so far. What could possibly go wrong? And well, I had to re-record a bunch of like different processes for things, and it's not the issue with the product itself, it's my inexperience with them. So I was struggling a lot. So overall, my review is that it's good. Like, the pencils are good, they blend really well, nice color variety. Onto the actual sketchbook decoration process. So I don't think I've ever really done like an in-depth look at this side of my sketchbook stuff. I usually just do the spreads. So basically what I do is when I get a new sketchbook, I decorate everything. I usually decorate the, like, what is it, the side, like the back side of the cover, the first page. I usually don't draw on the first page, sometimes I do. People make a big deal about the first page. I honestly don't give a crap anymore. I have decided to just do whatever, and for this theme I decided to go with this like cutesy sort of pink and black theme. I was thinking GRIK in my head, but it didn't really execute that way, so it just became pink and black. And now onto the actual like spread and artwork itself. So this is where I struggled a lot. So basically what happened was I sort of kind of went into it with a certain idea in mind. Like, I drew these two sheep based on this sticker that I had, and so what happened was I kind of laid down the colors and they didn't really blend the way that I wanted them to, so you'll see that I messed up on the sheep on the left, so then I worked on the one on the right, and I was starting to screw up a little bit because I was like, oh crap, this is not looking great. Because, so like, what I noticed is that when you lay down like the grain for the pencil and then you have like, and then you spread it with the watercolor, it's like, it's kind of hard to build up from that point. I think it's more, I don't think that these pencils are meant to like really do that, like to layer. I think it's more so that it's to lay a foundation and then you add on top of it with other things, like maybe just regular color pencils or other watercolors or acrylic paints or something. So I kind of learned that the hard way, but then during my process I discovered something, and it's that when I dipped the watercolor pencils in water, I noticed that they had like this very waxy, almost oil pastel sort of look to them, and I was like, oh, I have an idea. And this is probably not how they were supposed to be used, but at the same time, it's my art supplies, I can do what I want with them. So I kind of went with this more oil pastel, blended, mushy color approach, I guess. And I really liked it. It was very experimental. I kind of struggled because I was like winging it the entire time, but it looked way better than what I had initially. So I was like, okay. And I actually like how it came out. Like, the process of it was a bit difficult. I was very nervous because I was kind of, I was sort of struggling a bit, but once I sort of got the hang of it, I was like, okay, I like how this is going so far. That's how it usually is when you get like new art supplies that you've never used before. You have to do a lot of trial and error, figuring things out, trying to like understand how they work and experimenting, but that's kind of what makes it fun. And I didn't show like the other footage of like the other things that I was working on because they were just really bad, and I was like, you'll see that like I did include like the first mess up, the sheep on the left, but the other thing I did on the first page was like this cat chick, and it just it looked so bad that I was like, I don't want to show it. Or like, I'll do when I do a sketchbook tour, the sketchbook, which I'm planning on using as more of a collage book instead because the pages are so small. So yeah, I guess that's something cool to do with watercolor pencils, is that I guess actually that's probably how you build up like the layers and stuff, is that you dip it in water and then you sort of go on top of it. Make sure you wait for it to dry though, because I think that was the problem. I was being very impatient and I was kind of just putting the water, like the stuff on top of each other without waiting as much, or waiting long enough to actually get the material to stick without it like having any issues, and I think that contributed to why it wasn't turning out great. So yeah, that's another lesson. Have patience. Don't be like me. I'm very impulsive when it comes to these sort of thing. So yeah, near the end you'll see that I started just kind of adding a bunch of stuff. I tried to salvage certain parts that I didn't like by including like putting the Arrtx acrylic marker stuff on top of certain parts, so that way there'd be like, you know, there'd be more detail and it'll look a little bit better, a bit prettier, because I was trying to make it look more aesthetic. I added some stickers and stuff, and overall I would say that the spread was pretty good. Yeah, it's not my best work, but I wanted to still have something, and also to show you guys that yeah, not everything is going to be an absolute banger. Sometimes it's going to suck sometimes, but that's okay, because that's the whole entire process of having new art supplies. You kind of have to get used to things and learn how to go with the flow of it before you can really master it. So I'm going to try to get better at watercolor pencils, because I've leaned way more into watercolor over the past couple of years, so I feel like these are definitely going to be very helpful. And yeah, I really vibed with them. I really think that the colors were really vibrant when I was working with them. The end result came out is that it looks edible. Like the art, like the way I colored everything looks edible, and I kind of like this oil pastel colored pencil style, and like the water like made it really smooth to blend in everything, and I was like, wow. Yeah, I guess this is like something that if you want to try with your watercolor pencils, if you buy them from Arrtx, then yeah, this is definitely the approach to go with. Especially if you're kind of intimidated by like oil pastels or color pencils and you want something that's a little bit easier to blend and a bit more smooth, then this is definitely it. So yeah, thanks once again for Arrtx for sponsoring me, and I'll see you quacks later.